Hello everyone, welcome to Exam Lexicon. Today we are going to solve CAT 2019 Slot 1 LR set called the dance competition problem. But before we start, let me just request you guys to subscribe to our channel if you already haven't done it yet. So the question was, Princess, Queen, Rani, Samagrini were four finalists in a dance competition. Ashman, Badal, Gagan and Dio were four music composers who individually assigned items to the dancers. Each dancer had to individually perform in two dance items assigned by different composers. The first items performed by four dancers were all assigned by different music composers. No dancer performed her second item before the performance of the first item by any other dancers. The dancers performed their second items in the same sequence of the performance of the first items. The following additional facts are known. No composer who assigned items to Princess assigned any item to Queen. No composer who assigned items to Rani assigned any item to Samagrini. The first performance was by Princess. This item was assigned by Badal. The last performance was by Rani. This item was assigned by Gagan. The items assigned by Ashman were performed consecutively. The number of performances between items assigned by each of the remaining composers was the same. Now before we start with the solution, I would request you guys to once try the solution on your own and then look at the solution. So I'm just going to pause for a couple of seconds here. I hope you tried, and let's just proceed with the solution now. So what we are going to do is we are going to segregate all the important information from the question and start inferring what we can, all the important information we can from it. Okay. So there are four finalists in a dance competition. So we have taken them to be P, Q, R, and S. Four music composers. We have taken them to be A, B, G, and D, and they are individually assigning music to the dancers. Each dancer has to perform two dance items by different composers. So there will be a total of 8 dances in the final, and each dancer will have two music composers. Next 2 points are the first item performed by 4 dancers were assigned by different music composers, and no dancer performed her second item before the performance of the first item by any other dancer. So if we combine these 2 points, we can easily divide the finals into 2 rounds, with each round having all the 4 dancers and songs by all the 4 music composers. Next, the dancers perform their second items in the same sequence of the performance of their first items. So the dancer going in first will be performing in 5th position as well, and the dancer performing in 2nd position will also be going in the 6th position, and so on. Okay. Now we will we have made a table from round 1 to 8 with columns dancers and music composers, and we have kept the information that we had inferred, and we will be looking at the additional facts and filling in the table, and obviously adding into the information that we had inferred. So the first is no composer who assigned items to Princess assigned any item to Queen. So we can easily infer that composers for P and Q are different. Similarly, no composer who assigned item to Rani assigned any item to Samagrini. So composers for R and S are also different. The first performance was by Princess. This item was assigned by Badal. So we can fill in the first row with P and B in the dancers and music composers column. And as we know, we can look at the second point in the information inferred. If the dancer is going in the first slot, then also she will be going into the 5th slot as well. So we can fill in P there as well. Next point, the last performance was by Rani. This item was assigned by Gagan. So we can fill in the 8th row as well. And as we have filled in R in the 8th slot, we can fill in R in the 4th slot as well. Next point, the items assigned by Ashman were performed consecutively. The number of performances between items assigned by each of the remaining composers was the same. So there's only one couple of positions that can Ashman perform in, because he has to perform in both the rounds from 1 to 4 and 5 to 8, and he has to perform consecutively. So we can fill A in 4 and 5th slot for music composers. Next, we'll be keeping all the information inferred from the additional facts, like the number of performances between items assigned by B, G and D is the same. This was from the last additional fact. Now if we look at point 3 in the information inferred, point 3 gives us that Q's composers to be D and G. This is because P and Q have different composers, and as we can see from the table, P has composers B and A. Okay. Similarly, point 4 gives us S's composers to be D and B. And the last point is remaining position for composers are 2, 3, 6 and 7. So if we consider point 1 and 5 from the information inferred, B can have only either 6th spot or 7th spot. So let us try putting him in the 7th spot. Once we do, we can see the difference between both the performances of B is 6. So we can easily take G into the 2nd slot, and the remaining 2 positions will be filled by D. But as we can see, the difference between both the performances of D comes out to be 3. So this is not satisfying the 5th point that we had inferred, that the number of performances between items assigned by B, G and D is the same. Okay, so then 6th slot for music composers will be taken by B, and we can easily assign S in the dancer slot because S's song is to be composed by B. Okay, then the difference, since the difference has to be same between B and G, G composes for the 3rd slot, and similarly Q takes the spot for the dancers. And now there are only 4 positions left in the table, so we can fill in D in the music composer slot, and S and Q in the 2nd and the 7th slot respectively. Right, now we can easily get to the questions, which will be pretty much easier from here since we have completed the table. So the first is, which of the following is true? The second performance was composed by DU. So as we can see from the table, the second performance was indeed composed by DU. So our answer is option 1. Okay, and if you want to check, you can check the rest 3 options as well, that the third performance was composed by Ashman, which it was not. It was composed by Gagan. The second performance was composed by Gagan, then again it was composed by DU, and the 4th point, the third performance was composed by DU, which it was not. It was composed by Gagan. So as we already had found out, that our answer is option 1. Next question, which of the following is false? Option 1, Queen did not perform in any item composed by Gagan. Okay, so as we can see in row 3, that Queen did perform from a song composed by Gagan. So then again, our answer is option 1. You can go ahead and check the rest of the options, which will come out to be true. Next, the 6th performance was composed by Gagan. The 6th performance was composed by A. Gagan, B. Ashman, C. Badal, and D. DU. So we can see that 6th performance was indeed composed by Badal. So our answer is option 3. Last question, which pair of performances were composed by the same composer? So we can see that out of these options, option 1, 1st and 6th is composed by B, which are the same, which is the same music composer. Rest of the options are not fulfilling the condition. So our answer again is option 1. So this is all about the set. Thank you so much for watching the video, and please stay tuned for more content.